Like and subscribe.
Okay, so with this bit of backstory, basically the UK government made it so that you need to either scan your face or use like an ID app, or you take a picture of your identification to view certain sites, the 18 plus sites, let's say. I don't mind it. I don't care. You can use a VPN. So
The government has no plans to repeal the online safety.
although there's rumors that they're gonna make that change for VPNs, man.
Act and is working closely with Ofcom to implement the act as quickly and effectively as possible to enable UK users to benefit from its protections. This video is going to be a complete and utter rant, but I am sick of this. I am fed up. So to rewind a little bit, the UK government has implemented these new rules that mean that if you were to access any website that maybe possibly perhaps contains any adult content whatsoever, you have to provide a form of identification. Now, this form of identification could be something like a driving license, a passport, or even a face scan. And many people have come out, in fact 360,000 people have come out and voiced their concerns with this being a regulation, because this has been done in the guise of protecting children online, when the actual reality of the situation is that it's being used to farm data, to collect information from the British public, and we have no say in how the information is used. Also, a lot of this information is being collected by private companies that have previously been subjected to being hacked. Now, if we really want to protect children online, the first thing we do is just get the app for our home internet provider. For me, EE, just log into that app and just turn on parental settings, and then go onto your kid's phone, turn on.
I mean, this is true. I would have said, not really, but like, this is true, because kids nowadays don't know how to bypass this. They don't know how to work technology. Apparently they're completely like not as computer literate as like the previous generations.
Parental settings, and Bob's your uncle, Deborah's your aunt, and your kid cannot access adult content on the internet. Sorted, problem solved. We could maybe even implement laws where parents have to have on parental guidance in their home if their children are under the age of 18. I think having laws that prevent children under the age of 18 for accessing this sort of content is probably something that a lot of people wouldn't find controversial. But having everyone submit their personal identification online was absolutely insane. And most people with a functioning cognitive brain realize this too. So we have the online petition. Now, the online petition, like I said actually in the video that came out earlier today, could be really useful, but I believe it's for the most part probably pointless. And to be fair,
it does something, does more than the US petitions. It does something. They kind of had to mention it at some point, but that's it. That's all they need to do, man. They can mention it and that's it. They don't actually have to do shit about it. That's the major issues. We have to like go to our representatives, our local like representatives, to fucking file for this shit, man.
A bit of backlash for saying that, but I rest my case. The UK government have just responded to the petition. Now, surprisingly, the government responded in a very, very fast manner. Usually it takes them about a week and a half to respond to these petitions, and normally these petitions don't even reach 100,000 signatures before the government issues a response. In this instance, we've gone over 3.5 times the minimum requirement for this topic to get discussed in Parliament, and in this instance, the government have totally shat all over the British public, and this is the government's response. I would like to thank those who signed the petition. It is right that the regulatory regime for in-scope online services takes a proportionate approach, balancing the protection of users from online harm with the ability for low-risk services to operate effectively and provide benefits to users. While a proportionate response would be enforcing something where ISPs and parents have to protect their children with online parental guidance on their internet service providers' boxes or on the child's actual device itself, not mass surveillance. The government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act and is working closely with Ofcom to implement the act as quickly and effectively as possible to enable UK users to benefit from its protection.
That's just lies, man. Benefit how, man? Like, I'm not really... Ultimately, I don't care too much unless they try to ban VPNs, which that's a big deal. But like, yeah, ultimately, like, does it help? It might help a lot, but if it's one of those things, it brings up more issues. Like, they can just scan their parents' ID, right? They can just, or they trick it. with the face scans, because apparently people have been using face scans, images from Death Stranding to bypass this shit. So it doesn't really do much. Maybe setting a law for like parents that actually have parental control of something. Yeah, I guess. Well, because you can kind of do that way, because when you pay for the internet, right, for the ISP, you're using a real name, everything like that. You've given them everything for that. So like all you have to do is like get the parents who already has given their IDs to the ISPs, and get them to set it up. Right? I think that's probably the best way. To be honest, they shouldn't have changed shit, man. I'm trying to think of a better workaround for this, but no.
Enjoy your benefits, guys. Proportionality is a core principle of the Act and is built into its duties. As a regulator for the online safety regime, there's definitely another regime going on, Ofcom must consider the size and risk, a level of different types and kinds of service. There's a gun pointed at your head. If you don't drink water, I'm gonna shoot.
Where's my bottle? There is. Jesus, man. Don't shoot. But yeah, I love this when governments try and tell you it's for safety and stuff. It's for your benefit, man. It's just shut up, dude.
When recommending steps providers can take to comply with requirements. Duties in the Communications Act 2003 require Ofcom to act with proportionality and to target action only where it's needed. The entire UK population? Proportionality? What? Some duties apply to all user-to-user search services in the scope of the Act. This includes risk assessments, including determining if children are likely to access the service, and if so, assessing the risk of harm to children. Whilst many services carry low risks of harm, the risk of assessment duties are key to ensuring that risky services of all sizes do not slip through the net of regulation. That is such a dystopian sentence. I hate the word risky services because that is totally up to complete subjectivity. What is a risky service? For example, the government is very concerned about the small platforms that host harmful content, such as forums dedicated to and encouraging suicide or self-harm. What? That sort of content?
What does these 18 plus sites, and you know which ones I mean, what do they have? Do they promote self-harm? I've never watched one and gone, you know what? I should probably just isekai myself right now.
Content is already illegal. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that every single person in the UK needs to submit their passport to use the internet or use any site where there could possibly be some adult content. It's absurd. Exempting small services from the Act would mean that the services like these forums...
They're making weak people. This is why the future generation isn't like computer literate anymore, because they didn't have to they didn't grow up having to learn about viruses the bad way, right? Like, bro, it's... Why? You're just gonna make... It's tough to say this, but like... You gotta push them out into the world. Let them rub some dirt in their wounds, right? Obviously, there's the bad stuff out there, but it's already illegal. It's already illegal stuff, and the sites will be taken down for that. So like, what does this do? Even in Russia, this isn't the draconian. Yeah, bro. I don't even know why. Why is this a thing? Before I was like, I didn't really care. I was because of like VPNs, but yeah, this is just creating more and more issues for no reason. This doesn't protect any kids from this.
Subject to the Act's enforcement powers, no one's asking them to exempt small...
You can just make it illegal for parents to allow their kids to be online under the age of 18, like the same as them like playing hooky from school, right? Parents get fined or whatever, they get a warning, fined, and then possible prison time if their kid just doesn't turn up at school. So like you can do it that way, It's the parents' fault, man. That's what it's down to.
services from the Act. That's not what the petition's for. Even forums that might seem harmless carry potential risks, such as where adults come into contact with child users. Okay,
then again, ban these kids from the internet by, well, punishing the parents if these kids are on the internet.
give us some examples, explain what the core issue is there, and then find a way to resolve it. Once again, the biggest place and the biggest issue I've heard with stuff like that happening are games like Roblox, a game which is designed primarily for children and adults shouldn't be using. The problem there isn't the children using it, it's the adults using it. And more to the point,
and apparently learned from yesterday that the owner or the founder of Roblox wants to add dating simulator like into the fucking game, dude. Why?
You don't need your passport to play Roblox. So that's not fixing that problem. That's not fixing an issue. Once providers have carried out their duties to conduct risk assessments, they must protect the users of their service from the identified risks of harm. While there is one identified risk of harm, private companies holding millions of people's copies of their passports, driving license, and biometric data, which then can be hacked, sold, or utilized in nefarious means. But hey, what do I know? Just a YouTuber. Ofcom's illegal content codes of practice sets out recommended measures to help providers comply with these obligations, measures that are tailored in relation to both size and risk. If a provider's risk assessment accurately determines that the risk faced by
day by day, man, I just want to move away from this country. I really do.
Users are low across all.
Like, send me back to Tonga, man. I'm down to burn my passport, turn up at somewhere, and just say, I'm from Tonga, dude. I don't have my passport.
Harms, Ofcom's codes specify that they only need some basic measures, including easy to find and understandable terms and conditions, which is a legal requirement in the UK already, a complaints tool that allows users to report illegal material when they see it, backed up by a process to deal with those complaints. Okay, that's fine. Still not seeing the requirement for a passport. The ability to review content and take it down if it's illegal or breaches their terms of service. Well, every platform so far that's asking for ID already has that. A specific individual responsible for compliance who Ofcom can contact if needed. Most businesses that they're targeting already have that. That's the end of their criteria. So there's already laws, regulation, and compliance standards that fall into all of those categories. This act doesn't help with the introduction of these things. This act does nothing for those things. Where a children's access assessment indicates a platform is likely to be accessed by children, a subsequent risk assessment must be conducted to identify measures for mitigating risks. Okay, so why is this not on every single application that children are using today? Why is this not on Roblox? Why is this not on mobile kids games? Why is it not on all these other places? If the objective is
where were they when all of the crazy stuff on YouTube Kids app? Where were they, man? Like, this does nothing. This just targets like the fucking 18 plus sites. And bro, like, the kids even go on there?
Adults being
I know some do, but like
that they shouldn't be. That's great. Implement it in places where adults usually gravitate towards, for example, in places that they shouldn't be. Don't apply it to the whole internet. For example, highly effective age assurance is recommended for the services likely accessed by children that do not already prohibit and remove harmful content, such as pornography and suicide promotion. To be fair,
where in what world, dude? How in like the surface level internet do you go around finding this suicide stuff, man? How?
I'm just too innocent. But I've not come across any websites that have been indexed by Google that are encouraging the promotion of people ending their life.
And on Google, they wouldn't fucking show it if it was. What?
And if those websites do exist, I'm 99.999% sure they're illegal anyway. You'll have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. On the 8th of July, Ofcom CEO wrote to the Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, noting Ofcom's responsibility for regulating a wide range of highly diverse services, including those run by businesses, but also charities, community and voluntary groups, individuals, and many services have not been regulated before. The letter notes that the Act's aim is to not penalise small, low-risk services trying to comply in good faith. Ofcom and the government recognise that many small services are dynamic small businesses. What? So the rest of this goes on about how this affects small businesses. This is not why people are signing it. This isn't just being applied to small businesses, this is being applied to every single resident of the UK that tries to access anything online that is a place where adult content may exist in some capacity. An issue that can be fully, completely, and entirely resolved just by implementing safety guidelines through the app that's already on our phone for our home internet routers and going onto your child's phone and turning on parental controls.
Bro, the UK is so much in shit, dude. There's just nothing. We're so cooked, man. We've been cooked for a while, and it keeps getting worse, man.
That will fix like 95 to 90.
It's like Brexit, man. They went. There's too many illegal immigrants coming over. We need to leave the EU. We can't take it anymore. Okay, we left. It didn't change shit, man. Everything that the UK does just doesn't fucking change anything. Like, holy fuck, this is it. It's a failed country at this point, man.
99% of the issue.
It's lucky that its fucking buying power is still this high.
Government will continue to work with Ofcom towards the full implementation of the Online Safety Act 2023, including monitoring proportionate implementation. Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. What they should really say is Department for Surveillance, Interrogation and Tyranny. Honestly, I cannot begin to explain how frustrated and how angry I am about this. The whole point of the Parliament website is that when something gets to 100,000 signatures, it's clearly a big enough thing in the UK that people care enough about for it to be considered for a debate in Parliament. But
they just shut it down. Like, that's what I thought it was. Like, I didn't think that they could just shut it down completely. I thought they had to acknowledge this in Parliament. They had to bring it up. Granted, like I said, I'm pretty sure they can just bring it up and not talk about it anymore and just say they brought it up and that's the rules.
Is considering this for a debate is not good enough. This needs to be debated, and it doesn't need to be debated in a room full of people that already voted for it. The British public need to stand up against this, because as we've just seen from everything we've just read, the guise of this being used to protect children falls apart immediately when you actually suggest things.
And sure, a lot of people are gonna say, oh, you're just a gooner, dude. Yes, first off. But secondly, like, where is the line, man? Where is the line? Do you have to log in every time you do you have to use your scan your face every time you fucking use the internet on anything? Bro, like, some people just like their privacy. Obviously, there's people are gonna say like, oh, what is there to hide? Bro, people just like their privacy, man. That's all. It's not a big ask. I think it should be a fucking human right at this point, right? Everyone likes their privacy. Otherwise, I'm gonna fucking step into your fucking house and watch you get dressed, man.
Indeed, protect children. I know I've said this.
Why the fuck did I think of that example? Shit.
Twice in this video, and I've covered it in previous videos, but the way to protect children online is so much easier than what they're trying to implement. And everything they've just gone through in their response is nothing to do with the protection of children. There's a couple of references in there to it, but the main thing is about how they're trying to help small businesses implement this regulation, and it's to stop children seeing content such as like self-harm stuff. And
no one sees that. And no one fucking sees that. None of these companies show that. If you Google or whatever search engine, like even fucking Bing, right? There's the whole meme of like Bing telling you, oh, use a rope and everything. Even in that, man, it's just a meme. None of these sites fucking tell you this because it's law.
It gets to the point where, yes, they could implement all sorts of laws. They can entirely ban the internet and prevent this issue in its entirety. But there is such thing as too far. And the idea that we have to trust millions of private companies with a copy of our face scan, a video of ourselves, our driving license, or even our passport in some instances, that's not the answer. I am beyond words. I'm beyond words. The only thing I can say is everyone keep signing this petition. Keep signing the petition, because at least the government has responded. I don't think it's going to do anything. There's not really much else we can do other than create noise. We need to create noise because this needs to be addressed. This is
It's just so dumb. And before, I wasn't bothered by it. I was like, we got VPNs, surely it'll be fine. But now, the more I think of it, I'm like, dude, where's the line? The whole, like, fucking adage, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They're already taking a fucking mile, dude. They're about to take the whole fucking road.